Okay, 2004 Nissan Titan VK56. This block has been bored. Let's see if I can light this up a little bit. It's been bored 20 over. It's going to get a little bit of additional horsepower. So, flip this really quick. Getting ready to install the lower main bearing journals.
But the reason why I don't feel that way
Okay.
I don't believe at 7 years
D&J main bearings, MB649 main bearings. So, get ready to install these. Okay, so now before I come back here and start installing these main bearings, a few things that you need to know is that, let me show you. These surfaces, these galleys right here, should first be blown out with compressed air. All of these. You don't want anything passing through these coming back into the bearings, scoring the bearings. After you make sure that you wash this down, blow out all those passages. If you have one of these, it's a lint-free cloth. I have one for my eyeglasses. It's lint-free. It doesn't provide lint when you wipe it down. After you've blown everything out, you want to come through and wipe down every main bearing journal. Make sure that they're nice, lint-free, clean, nice and smooth. Same thing with the cylinder walls. So you'll have a crosshatch in there, but you want to wipe down in case any dust has gotten in there, just to eliminate any dust coming, passing through the engine on initial startup. So all of these have been wiped down. This is the crankshaft. This is a used crankshaft, but same thing. I took some 800 grit sandpaper, which doesn't score it. Basically just got off the surface stuff. Again, these passages are oil passages. You'll see one on the connecting rod journal. You'll see two. On the main journal, you'll see one. You'll see two on the connecting rod journals, one for each connecting rod for the pistons. Blow all of those out with compressed air, because if you don't, anything that's tried in there is going to come straight through into the bearing and you're going to score them right away. And then same thing, wash it down with some detergent water, some soap and water, blow dry it off with the air compressor, take your lint rag and wipe it down again so that all your surfaces are nice and smooth, all your surface areas for the journals are nice and polished, you don't have any surface rust, you don't have any scores, you don't have any nicks, and then you've taken the lint towel and you've wiped it clean. Now, when you go to start with the main bearings, obviously bearings get lubricated. However, you do not want to lubricate the backside that is going to be sitting down in here. You want these to stay stationary in here. So if you lubricate the backside, you're susceptible to these things spinning. So you keep this side dry that touches down in here. And then before you set the crankshaft, you're going to put some assembly lube on this side because the crankshaft rotates through here. So you do want this side lubricated because of the friction. But again, the backside, you want this to stay stationary in here. So do not lube the backside, do not lube this surface. You want it dry so that it stays put. It's nice and gripped in there. Okay? So I'll come back as I'm putting those in. Okay, one more thing. I bought this crankshaft used. I took my digital micrometer and measured the connecting rod and the main cap journals. What you do is you come in and go from here 180 degrees across. You'll get it. I have one that goes down to 10 thousandths. It'll say like 2.54, whatever it may be, and then you look in your manual for the specs. You want to do it, say here, and come 90 degrees to make sure there's not taper. You want the same measurement here that you want here so that you don't have an oblong or an oval. You won't see it with the naked eye, but you don't want it oval. Same thing here. Come where the holes are and then go 90 degrees. Make sure you don't have any taper going through here. These ones all came out within the specs in the manual, and there wasn't any taper. So next, being that they're all within spec, even though it's used and the crankshaft tells you that it's not worn down because all of them are in spec, on your bearings, you want to check and make sure, and you're not going to be able to see because of the light, dang it, but on one end of these, it will say either STD for standard or .020 or .010. That's if your crankshaft has been machined to where those journals are ground down to a smaller diameter, then you need to go with what they call an undersized bearing, and these will be, a thicker bearing to take up that difference that you've taken off of those journals. However, nothing's been taken off there, so we want standard, and it's not going to focus, but these are standard. It says STD right there, so there you go. back again. On your main bearing journals, you're going to have a group that is solid, such as these, no holes. You're going to have some with oil passage journals. I have the first one installed right here. As you can see, these have oil passage journals. The front one has 3 of them. So basically what you want to do is, right here is a little tang. The other side does not have the tang. The bearings have a tang, no tang. So you slip it down in there. Remember, the back side of this is dry. Slip it down in there and seat it. Now you want it flush with here and here as best you can. So just, you can feel it pretty much with the naked finger. As you bring the caps down, it will correct itself. It'll bring it to where it's supposed to be. So you don't have to be too concerned. Obviously, you don't want this lip here sitting down in here and this one raised way up. So just with your finger, just make sure that they're seated pretty level, pretty flush. If you look from the side, I've got those ones pretty flush. So not a concern. This ends up a little bit, but as I bring the cap down, it will correct itself. But critical is that you have this oil passage hole lined up with the hole underneath. I don't know if you can see that black hole. It goes right over the oil passage to allow oil to sling in there to lubricate the bearing. So 5 of them that will look like that, 5 of them that will be solid. Make sure these ones go on the side facing, which would be the upper part of the block once this engine is flipped over.